All right. Well, welcome everyone. My name's Jerry Hanley. I'm the host for today's webinar about Real Chem. And just want to thank you all for taking the time out during your summer to learn about Real Chem, this courseware that is, I think, a part of the program we've been running with HBCUs for the last 8 or 9 years. And the community program that we've had has been called Affordable Learning Solutions. So the key part around this is about learning solutions. What are the tools and technology that can help faculty and students be more effective in their teaching and learning process, which ultimately helps the institution be successful in what they're doing? And so Affordable Learning Solutions, I'm from Merlot, Multimedia Educational Resource for Learning and Online Teaching. And my partner in this process has been Robbie Melton. She's the interim provost at Tennessee State University. We've been colleagues for 25 years. And working together, we're here to share with you some of the exciting work that could help your faculty and your students be more successful in general chemistry. So, and my partner in the presentation today is Talitha Scott Brown, your learning consultant for Real Chem. And so, Talitha, if you want to start the share the screen, and we'll get going with a presentation about Real Chem. What I'd like to talk about here is that this is being produced by higher education institutions. So Arizona State University and Carnegie Mellon University, through their Open Learning Initiative, have collaborated together to really rethink the way chemistry gets taught for general chem, especially bringing students and faculty so they can be successful together. And I think the important aspect around this is we have institutions whose responsibility is to do the teaching and learning, who have a better depth of knowledge, and their partnerships with other members in higher education help enable us to be more.
Yeah, because you need to know something about what you.
Hey, Clarissa, good to hear
Hi,
you.
how are you? I don't know how it unmuted.
Oh, no, you're okay. Okay, so next slide. And Clarissa, we're just getting started. So gave the introduction already, and again, feel free if you have any questions. We're here to help. A number of the people here have heard my saying, and our job is to give a gift and not a burden. So working with you, the Affordable Learning Solutions team, working with the HBCUs, are here to help make your life a little bit better. All right. So next slide. Now, one of the things about whenever you're looking at technology and teaching and learning is understanding what the need is, right? If you're going to give a gift to someone, you have to say, well, what is it that they really need, right? And Arizona State, Tennessee State, and Carnegie Mellon, there's UC Riverside, Cal State. There's been a bunch of campuses who have been talking about what are the big challenges that our students are facing in completing general chemistry. Because when you look at some, overall numbers, when you have the grades of D's and W's and F's at 40% for gen chemistry, then there's a problem that we have to solve. And collectively, if we can understand the reasons why are students having challenges, then we can come up with strategies or learning solutions to address those issues. So Carnegie Mellon and Arizona State identified 5 key important points. One, about students entering into our universities at different skill levels that are often the prerequisite skills and knowledge to be successful in chemistry. And for example, algebra is one of those issues. If you have challenges in algebra, balancing equations in chemistry becomes a difficulty. The next thing is around, well, why do I need to know chemistry, right? how do you engage with their understanding for their own lives, and how do you make it relevant? Because often when Gen Chem, they're often large lectures, and it's about the chemistry and not about how chemistry relates to their lives. So again, identifying these challenges in the way chemistry is taught, then Arizona and Carnegie Mellon said, okay, let's look at how do we redesign the way we might teach chemistry with some technologies. And active learning, as I mentioned, if you're doing lectures, take notes versus how do I experiment, try out ideas, see how things work with hands-on, to be active learning in that. And those active learning, when you have large lectures, it becomes a challenge because it often leads to faculty, the challenges for them, and finding the time to give one-on-one support for those students who need that extra help there, because every student at some point in their lives need that little extra help. And then finally, what they identified is often chemistry, Gen Chem has a tough reputation of, oh my goodness, you know, I remember when I took it many years ago, I think it was 1974, so talking 50 years ago, it was the faculty said, look to your left, look to your right. One of those people that aren't going to be there next semester. And it's like, oh my goodness, is this how you want to start off teaching? Right? So beginning with the roots of the challenges our students have was very important. And the next slide say, these challenges that we have for our students also cause consequences for our institutions in our ability to be successful. So low retention rates hurts our enrollment. That translates into our tuition rates that we have can become a financial issue. So that's one. Then our institutions are meant to prepare our students for the workforce, and in STEM disciplines, helping our students achieve those skills that get them good, sustainable living wages and jobs become a challenge. So how do we make sure our students complete their programs successfully? And then when we have a challenging course, supporting students becomes really important. And that creates another resource requirement that I'm not sure what it's like in your institution, but in ours, budgets in the next few years are challenging. And so now how do we find the support for our students to be successful? And that then adds to the faculty overload when now we have to say, okay, we got to put more students in the class, we have more challenging students, and then it just makes it tough on faculty. And then finally, institutions, how do we again prepare our students for the STEM professions there? So I'm starting off with, what are the challenges facing our students and our institution, so we can begin to see what Arizona State and Carnegie Mellon has said, how do we come up with a solution, because it needs to address these issues. And that's where REAL CHEM, and now we're going to say, well, what the heck is REAL? It stands for relevant for the students in their lives, engaging by enabling the medium in which you talk about and present chemistry to be more than just text and words, and active learning, right? Engaging the students in hands-on simulations, relevant experiences, so they have a meaningful experience with learning chemistry. And that's really, the next slide highlights the focus in thinking about this. The learning solution is, how do we be student focused, modern user interface. We're going to see a lot of videos of chemistry faculty members speaking in their voice about chemistry and their experiences, right? It's not a disembodied knowledge, right? And one of the things about Real Chem, and why I think the Real Chem, particularly for HBCUs, is because they bring African American chemists, men and women, and other chemists of color into the presentation of the chemistry and the challenges that face the chemistry student. And I think those are so important elements of some of the value that Real Chem can bring to, particularly in supporting the HBCUs. And I'll show you a little bit more in a second about that. All right. So now we have the student focus, then the institutional focus are what are the tools that help the institution identify the feedback that will help a student be successful, data-driven insights. So it's just not, oh, I think someone is having a problem. You can actually get the data about how the student's performing, when you can still provide that guidance and support for that student in the class, not after the class is over. And then finally, in order to make the student help the student and the institution, you got the faculty is at the center of this hub of support services. And this is where I think Real Chem enables the faculty to use their time and talents most effectively, so technology can provide a number of support around which the student could be successful, and enabling the students to see how they can help themselves, and the faculty can curate the content, right? This isn't a one size fits all. This is an adjustable size for a course, so the faculty who knows their program, who knows their students, can make the adjustments to have that good fit. So I've been talking about kind of the strategy that Carnegie Mellon and Arizona State have done with funding from the Gates Foundation. Just so you know, they've made a significant investment in this to come up with a strategy. Now, next slide. So strategies help to have the people. And here's just an example. One of the things that Real Chem has done is they've actually put some of the videos up on YouTube, so you can go explore how you have chemistry faculty member teaching about chemistry concepts, right? And one of the things I'll just say with the current federal administration removing materials, deleting history of the leadership of African Americans on the web, in a sense, seeing an instructional process that showcases African American chemists, I think is very important, where you have the connections that we need to make for our students. So next slide. So this is, we're coming to the end of my yapping away about the strategy here, and then Talitha will be demonstrating how it actually works for you too as well, is that thinking about the learning process, yes, in class is very important, where the faculty using the tools and technologies and mechanisms to create an in-class learning experience. But in order to address all these challenges facing our students, we have to think about preparing the students before they get to class with engaging them with exploring some concepts, practicing some ideas, getting some prerequisite knowledge and skills developed and reminded. And then after class, how do you practice, right? Learning it once doesn't mean you learn it forever. So how do you have practice experiences where they can continue to explore and learn the skills that enable them to be successful? And at the bottom, you'll see AI integration. Arizona and Carnegie have really enhanced the tools to create that personalized tutorial process where the unique needs of the students can be addressed with AI integrations. Okay, so next slide. So just, you know, it sounds like good strategy, right? But Jerry, you know, is this working, right? So these are samples of two studies, one from Cal State, Los Angeles, where the course retention went from 75% to 92%, right? And when you have students, you know, almost a 20% increase. And when students don't get DWFs and they want to stay in their major, they don't have to retake the course. They can progress in graduating in a timely manner. So course retention is essential here. And then the second piece is on their scores on learning these academic areas. And this is out of the UC Riverside that found students improve their grades from raising from 42% to 61%, right? Now, they're saying that that's about a 2-letter grade increase. And when you have students engaged and they find it relevant and they're doing active learning, they're having a real learning experience, then this really leads to significant improvements. Okay, next slide. So these are just working with HBCUs. If you're thinking about this, just so you know, you're not the first out there. We've had a number of institutions and partners working with us. And the other aspect here, I'll just mention, I see OpenStax. OpenStax is the core curriculum that is underlying this. So just so you know, this is proven materials that have had many, many chemistry faculty participating in creating that curriculum. All right, next slide. And this is our summary of the benefits before we move on to Talitha, and I'll just highlight them so you'll see them, a little reminder of all the stuff I've said. Cinematic, high quality videos where it's people talking about chemistry and making it personal. There's explorations of how chemistry relates to our lives. What about climate change? And how does chemistry help you think about that? All right. So formative feedback that gives students feedback while they're learning with AI tools, with programmatic tools that's already built in, and also peer-to-peer and faculty collaboration. That's the collaborative learning aspects. And one of the important aspects, and I'll probably jumping in to highlight this when Talitha is talking, is about how do you help students manage their own learning process, right? So how do you provide them insights about, well, how long is this going to take me to do, right? And how am I progressing? If I'm taking a test, I'm practicing. Am I learning it? Am I getting good feedback? And then finally, the last one, and I'll talk about this too, is about integration. This integrates with your LMS. All the grading that occurs with the materials within Real Chem get automatically populated into your gradebook. So with that, Talitha, I'm going to pass it over to you to show them Real Chem live.
Thank you, Jerry, and welcome. Again, my name is Talitha, and I'm a learning consultant with Real Chem. I come from a legacy of HBCU graduates in my family, so I'm really honored to present to you all today. And again, thank you for taking time out of your summer. What we'll do today is we'll talk about it's going to be a high-level tour. I'll walk you through how Real Chem creates a relevant, engaging, and active learning environment that will help students see just how chemistry impacts their life and their world. And the first view you see on your screen today is our home view. It's our home dashboard. This is our student view. It's an approachable and non-threatening way to keep students organized. It's very similar to other courseware. We do, as Jerry mentioned, provide a single sign-on. It's a seamless integration with your learning management system. As I scroll down the screen here, you'll see a personalized agenda that helps to track the learning process, again, keeping students organized and on track. It's a very familiar layout, so the students are not intimidated. It's extremely intuitive. And I want to jump right into our Learn tab. Our Learn tab is where you and your students will be spending the majority of time in Real Chem. It's a familiar approach. The layout, you may notice, is similar to Netflix or YouTube. Again, it's highly intuitive and easy for both students and instructors to use. This is our main course area. Again, we have seamless navigation. There are units and modules. It's organized that way. We again have cinematic, high quality videos, which I will show in a moment. Everything is rearrangeable. So the work integrates directly into your LMS. So everything that you need is here, but it can be customized to meet the needs of your course. It was mentioned prior that Real Chem is based on OpenStax. So it's a trusted, research-backed information. It's a personalized learning experience. Again, it easily adapts in-person, hybrid, fully online environments. So I'm going to scroll back up here. So again, Real Chem is completely inclusive. It's designed to meet the needs of all learners. Our intro video is a great way to show you just how wonderful the cinematic high quality videos are. Now, it is a 3-minute video, but we want to play it to showcase the real in Real Chem, the relevant, engaging, active learning component. So I'll play this now.
What do you see right now? A bunch of moving dots, right? What about as we move out? Are things becoming clearer? Are you seeing anything yet? These moving images are just an optical illusion, a combination of the reality of these dots and the way our eyes work. But what if the whole world, the whole universe is like this too? And chemistry was our way of understanding the dots. This is Real Chem. Our world is an incredible place, but what we experience with our senses barely gives us a glimpse of reality. Chemistry allows us, any of us, to understand the world as it really is. It lets us understand what our hands cannot feel, our noses cannot smell, and our eyes cannot see. Just look at the variety of what you see around me. Cement, steel, grass, rock. Yet we know that everything, literally everything, is made up of just 92 types of tiny dots. Building blocks, combinations of the same few atoms, endlessly connected and stacked together. We perceive the physical world, with all its beauty and complexity, as continuous. Yet in reality, it is just made up of these countless repeating units, too small for us to see. But if we understood these units, then we could change the world. We can fight disease, increase food production, address climate change, improve lives. That's a lot of amazing stuff, and it's barely scratching the surface. And that's why I study chemistry, because I believe it matters. Some people can feel they don't belong in science. In fact, many people believe that they don't belong in science, like they're outsiders, looking in and hanging on. But that should never be the case. Chemistry belongs to everyone, wherever they come from and whatever they've done before. As you work through this course, you'll likely find some things easier and other things more challenging, both of which is how everyone experiences learning new ideas, including me. So don't ever let the challenge put you off. The videos in this course are a small part of the material available in Real Chem. But we believe these extra points of human input will help you. You will meet people with unique backgrounds and stories, just like yours. What brings them together is a love of chemistry. As you journey through this course, above all, enjoy it. This unit takes us on a tour of some basic concepts of matter and energy, how we distinguish and classify different substances and their properties. We then move into the founding principles of scientific inquiry, precision, accuracy, and analysis. Start seeing the world in a different way. Use chemistry to reframe everything for you. Learn to rely on scientific knowledge to understand way more than your eyes can ever see. This is Real Chem.
So that video, again, highlights a diverse representation. And these aren't actors, these are real chemists, these are real people working in STEM, real storytelling. And again, with Gen Chem being a gateway course, every student really should walk away knowing that they also belong in science because they see themselves as scientists and are represented in this video and throughout the course. I want to jump into our introduction to Real Chem now. And what you'll see is this is our instructor's resource. Now, again, this is a high-level demonstration. We do have a separate dashboard for instructors that will work on one-on-one together. But this, again, is from the student perspective. There's a real discussion that promotes engagement by encouraging critical thinking and a deeper connection with the material. As I scrolled here to one of the prompts, we have an example. What example could I use to showcase the contributions of diverse people in chemistry? Again, these are real-world examples to get your students to start thinking about these subjects as they work through their course. As I scroll to Module 1, this is an example of what every assignment activity will look like. The activity cards describe the student activity and the specific skills being addressed in that assignment. Module 2 is an instructor-led problem set. So it includes full explanations. As you can see, there are PowerPoints and Google Slides already embedded. We know that you're busy. We want to sort of take that off your plate. We have everything that you need, and then it's customizable to include things that you're currently using as well. As I scroll to the next, let's go back up here. This is our unit level activity. So this example is basics of matter, energy, and measurement. So this is where it's an individual or group problem solving. And again, we have our Google Slides, our MS Word key, many ancillaries for you as well. If you look on the right side of the screen here, and this pulls up in various places in Real Chem, in the Real Chem dashboard, this is our contextual chat tool. So what this is this helps to hone on that community of practice. It's a space where new users can ask questions and learn best practices, continuing the engagement, reinforcing that relevant, engaging, and active learning throughout the platform. And through our one-on-one demonstration with you as instructors, we'll highlight a little bit more of what that can do. Jerry mentioned this AI portion here. I'll show you. It's that shining globe at the bottom here. If you open it up, this is DOT. DOT stands for Digital Online Tutor System. It's AI-driven. It's personalized, real-time support for students. It jumps in at a key moment of support. So a student will, when they need it the most, they'll have that instantaneous feedback. So it is student-led. The student will ask a question in the text box here, and they will receive instant feedback, sort of leveling up their understanding, helping them to get through the course successfully. Let's go back to our learning path. And I want to now take you into our Design for Learning tab. As you start working and learning with Real Chem, you'll notice that it's a student-centered design. There's a quick entry with no long text blocks. So it's designed with using the principles of learning science. Again, it's content structured for retention and understanding. We do have a video library here. You were able to see sort of an example of our videos. I'll just scroll through to show you the different types that are available for you and your students. This is our field intros. You can find these presented at the beginning of each unit. So they're really designed to provide a memorable, exciting experience to connect the principles encountered in the unit. So that's sort of a welcome to this unit. We have studio explainers. Now, these are engaging, immersive experiences. They help to unpack single concepts and principles, again, while providing that visual, graphic representation. Lab demos are also included in the learning path. Now, these are practical demonstrations. They're live action experiments. You can utilize these in class. If you teach online, they're there for students to help that connection, that student to feel that connection with the course. And then last, we have our Chem Cafe tutorials. It's often mentioned that with Chem that students are coming in from various walks of life, often with low reading comprehension skills, often not having the math level and ability to succeed. Well, with our Chem Cafe tutorials, these videos provide tutorial work examples, calculations, and detailed explanations of particularly difficult problems and concepts. Once again, I just have to reiterate, Real Chem is designed by real chemists, real people working in STEM. So they understand what you as an instructor needs and what students are looking for when they come into a class such as general chemistry. I do want to scroll through just up here again. This is a high level, so I won't jump into everything, but I want to show you where you can find these. Now, again, this is just honing in on students not coming equipped with some of the skill sets that they need to succeed. Well, we have things here for you. We have our basic concepts of matter and energy. We have a tab that has measurements, unit key equations and key terms. And as I scroll, there are two more here that I actually will dig a little deeper. Our exploration, modeling of uncertainty and changing climate. I'll show you that toward the end of our talk today. And then our foundations of chemistry unit checkpoint. Once again, I will highlight that as I go through an active assignment. Which brings me to our active assignment. So let's jump into our module. Now, this is module 3, the atomic theory and periodic table. And I want to scroll down. So once again, this is a student experience, excuse me. This is extremely intuitive, it's point and click, and very familiar to other platforms that they've probably already used. I want to draw your attention to the right side of the screen here. Now, this is our time estimate to promote time management. And I think Jerry wanted to jump in here and
Yeah,
share a little bit more.
yeah, if you don't mind, sorry to interrupt you here, but one of the challenges that our students have is time management, especially when they're freshmen and sophomore, right? The constraints that they might have had at home when now they're at school, and giving them information about how long things are going to take to spend on something, because often they don't have an idea. So helping students manage their time will help them manage their learning more effectively. And as a faculty member, when your students are being more productive in their time management, then you can be more successful in your teaching. So I think, and there are a number of elements here that help students learn about and manage their own learning process that can be a significant help for their success. So thank you, Talitha, having me interrupt you there.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for that. I want to jump into our introduction to atomic theory and a periodic table. So this is the introduction to the assignment. As we enter, the first thing you'll notice is proficiency. So as I click on that, I'll further explain. So again, measuring learning proficiency. This is AI-powered proficiency estimate. Excuse me. It will track the student's understanding. And as I scroll here, it will also help the instructor, you, identify early needs with what's going on with your students from the time that they arrive to your course. It starts with not enough information, and it ends with established proficiency. And you can see this in every single assignment at the very top. It's the first thing that introduces the students to the lesson. We also have clear learning objectives that are laid out for students, again, as soon as they enter that introductory assignment, so that they can know exactly what to expect from this particular assignment. And at the bottom in our intro, we do have another cinematic and engaging video lesson. All of the lessons in Real Chem are embedded directly in the assignment at the beginning of the tabs. So it's all there for you. I know we mentioned YouTube, and you're definitely willing to utilize that. But with Real Chem, everything is here. Everything is ready for you and your students to point and click and dive in. Now let's go into an actual assignment. That was the introductory. Let's choose atomic mass. And I want to point out again, there's our proficiency and there's our learning objectives. Now, as the student starts to scroll, again, we want to build their understanding by engaging, not memorizing. So we do have the short, digestible readings that are here for them. And there are worked examples as well. So the worked examples are similar to like a whiteboard style explanation. I know I'm scrolling a bit here, but this is what the short reading looks like. And now we arrive at Learn by Doing. Many of you are probably very familiar with PhET simulations. Our PhET simulations are, again, embedded directly in the assignment. And then there's link at the bottom of the tabs where there's several that you can choose from if you're not utilizing them in the active assignment. PhET simulations come from University of Colorado Boulder. There is a hyperlink here that will take you out directly to that site. As the student is manipulating the assignment, again, this is our personalized understanding. This helps with their critical thinking. It helps with their metacognitive skills. Again, promoting that relevant, engaging, active learning, or actively involving themselves within the assignment. Let's scroll a little further down. I mentioned formative feedback. I took the liberty of filling out some incorrect answers. It hasn't been as long as Jerry since I took a CHEM course, but it's been a little while. And what you'll see here is that it's immediate supportive feedback in real time. The scaffolding does fade as the student grows more confident. So again, it helps to build on the confidence, proficiency, and independence. And this is a practice assignment. You'll find several of these throughout the assignments. And now let's talk a little bit more about the graded component of Real Chem. Now, a graded component does sync seamlessly with your LMS, which we provide full implementation support. If you scroll to the bottom of every assignment, and again, there was a tab at the right-hand side, this is where you would find those module checkpoints. It shows the student whether they have attempted. It shows them, again, the estimation of time, which we know is so important for student success. So this is where you would find that. So again, this is the graded portion. You can utilize it as a chapter in test or homework, however you choose. I do want to draw your attention to just some things on the left-hand side. Now, these are very standard, but I want to show you where to find them. But this is our course schedule. Again, a student will have an option of seeing everything that's required of them and keeping them on point and on task. We do have our notes here. Again, this is a high level. We do provide one-on-one integration and training support with you and your course, and we'll show you how to utilize a course discussion if that's something that you like to promote during your lessons. Assignments, again, this is so self-explanatory. It shows what's due, the number of assignments, and then it has checkpoints for students as they're working actively in their course. I'm going to skip over explorations because we're going to go back to that, and I want to pull up practice here. So this is our practice environment. I will scroll so you can see some of our titles. We have an abundance of practice assignments. Now, practice, as you know, is low stakes, but it's high engagement learning. It encourages that risk-taking and iteration, but providing that safe space to explore and to grow. So we're moving beyond that rote memorization to build that meaningful understanding, sort of a do no harm. Mistakes are a natural process of learning, and we want students to understand that. So they have plenty and ample opportunities in which to do so. I do want to take you back now to explorations. Jerry mentioned this briefly. So this is our immersive learning experience. It's hands-on. So think of it as a lab activity. So focus once more on the doing and not memorizing. These are real-world examples used to promote the act of learning and personal connections. Let's name a few of these titles here. Do you really want to drink that? The elements of water. We have decoding the mysteries of greenhouse molecules. Again, all of these are things that if our students are not aware that are going on in their world around them, that they will become aware and they'll realize that, wow, chemistry is not out of reach. This is happening in my backyard. This is happening in my zip code, which brings me to this one, exploration. What's the town toxic? Quantifying concentrations of lead. Now, with your one-on-one demo, you'll be able to sort of explore a little bit more. It takes some time. So we do have an active example here that I want to show you of what that looks like. So let me scroll down to our exploration just to give you a little bit more detail. Here we are. So again, here's our exploration. This allows students to apply their chemistry knowledge to real-world scenarios. So what's happening here? They're running a sample. They have an option of narrowing down to a zip code or a zip code near them. So again, bringing that real-world scenario right into the classroom. Sort of a choose your own path. As the student continues to work through, there will be checkpoints, understanding. Do you know what this means? Do you know what's happening here? Do you know what running a sample is? So there's quite a bit of checkpoints within the explorations, again, helping students to understand what they're doing. But again, it's that interactivity portion. So that immersive learning experience to connect chemistry to real world impact, that active student driven learning experience. As I go back to our main screen here, I do want to conclude by saying that Real Chem is, again, it's more than just a courseware. It is a full learning ecosystem. It delivers that relevant, engaging, active learning to support students through general chemistry and beyond the course. Because again, the idea is to create new faces in STEM and to continue to encourage them there. So I just want to say that the goal is to drive that STEM enrollment, to connect chemistry to the real world, to elevate diversity in the STEM field. So let's rewrite that narrative. Let's get to decide. We get to decide. You get to decide. The students get to decide who gets to excel in this field. I want to again thank you for taking time out this summer. I'm going to jump back to Jerry in our slideshow here. I do appreciate you, and we'll have some information on how to connect with me to get a one-on-one demo to do a deeper dive.
Thank you, Talitha. Really appreciate you walking through all the different elements there. And I'll say, everyone, every time I see this, when I see the introduction by Dr. Morris, I think about the welcoming kind of message that I get there versus what I had, 50 years ago. And it really can make a big difference. And on the integration side, just this courseware integrates with your LMS, and there's all the onboarding support services. So it's not, okay, good luck with this integration. The Carnegie Mellon and Arizona State people are there to support you in that integration. And the other aspect, and if you want to go to the next slides, is that we're here to support you in adopting Real Chem. And there's two type of support. The first question is, the first area is, if you have an individual faculty who wants to give it a try, right? We have individual stipends, about $1,000, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Or we also are partnering with APLU, right? The Association for Public and Land Grant Universities, and Ricardo is here from APLU. And then the other organization is Digital Promise, and they're interested in doing really think of it about program evaluation of the impact of Real Chem on both faculty and students. Okay, so you have a mini grant programs, and then we have the individual stipend. So next slide to go into a little bit more detail. So we're looking at fall adoption. If you'd like, as an individual faculty, get $1,000. The goal is to have about 100 students in your courses, because we need, kind of good samples, and you can have multiple sections. If you have something over the summer and the fall, that'd be great. In this case, the students would purchase it. It's $35. Again, this is a affordable learning solutions. And importantly is, fall is around the corner. So we are going to be here to support you in onboarding, learning about how you can use Real Chem, how you may want to curate, customate it to fit your program. And what we're going to want to know is your story. How do you think it's working for you and for your students? And because getting your message out about how it's working in your classes is part of a community of practice strategy. Okay. So now the mini grant strategy. Next slide. The first one, as I mentioned, by APLU. And so there is $8,000 for an institutional mini grant. And one of the things that APLU does, I think, in uniquely and marvelously, is that they bring collaborations across institutions who are sharing the same priorities, who are sharing those same goals, who are sharing those same strategies. So the cross-institutional community of practice really allows people to share what they're learning, lessons learning, what's working, what's not working, how they can make it better. And APLU has some wonderful people who can help provide coaching to your faculty so they can be successful in adopting Real Chem. All right. Digital Promise, as I mentioned before, is about, they're looking at doing a program evaluation of how faculty are adopting it, and they'll begin with your program as you're doing it now, and the next semester it's using Real Chem. So faculty will get a $2,000 for 1 year, and if you do one more semester, you can get another one. But it's mostly focused on a 1 year support, and then the institution gets an additional $5,000 to really engage in the research activity, the institutional research, so you can understand what the impact is for your students and for your faculty members. And just, Digital Promise, again, has a group of people who really help you work through this process. So next slide. So hopefully with the product itself, Real Chem, and the support for you adopting makes this hopefully an interesting, attractive, where your advocacy of having real chem that I think really does some innovations in chemistry education that the leadership of HBCUs, I think, can be very helpful in moving that strategy forward. And again, this is all part of the Affordable Learning Solutions initiative. And maybe Talitha, if you want to just let me share screen real quick, I'm going to
Sure.
just to remind everyone about what we have available for you in HBCUs. So for HBCUs, we have an affordable learning community portal. We have lots of information about digital learning resources, and we'll be highlighting Real Chem on this. We're just getting started on this. But many of you, what we've done, we have HBCU, we call them our hubs. And I saw Clarissa West White from Bethune-Cookman. They've been doing affordable learning for a number of years. They got tremendous expertise, and the outcomes that they have there are amazing in moving people to no cost open education resources or affordable cost. And then we also have, and many of you are in the campus affiliate side. I saw we had, American Baptist and Arkansas Baptist. Dillard is here. I think I saw Clark Atlanta, Grambling. So we have created, Lawson State, we have created affordable learning solutions customized and branded for your institution that has all this information about you and about how to leverage various MERLOT and other free materials. And importantly, one of the things we've been working on collectively is what's called the HBCU Cultural Collection. And this is where we're inviting all of you to expand the collection of materials about where HBCU faculty are authoring materials, where you can find HBCU selected or curated materials. So we have all this research here. We've highlighted materials from the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and then also some other, and these are all free and open materials that you can incorporate into your classes. So Real Chem is one of those part of an important element of this program to support HBCU leadership in this affordable learning solution strategy here. So I hope that has been helpful. And Talitha, if you want to go back to your slide, and because we have your contact information, and I saw that there was a question about visual disabilities, and just so you know, on the HBCU Real Chem website, I actually put in all the documentation for the fulfilling accessibility requirements. They got VPATs there, the voluntary product accessibility templates, to ensure that all students, including those with disabilities, have access to the materials within Real Chem. So with that, we have Talitha. Arletha is at Virginia Union, so that's who I just thought about there for a second. But Talitha here is your learning consultant. If you have any questions that you have about this, you can contact Talitha. Certainly, you can always contact me as well, Jerry Hanley at csulb.edu. And we will be here to support you in this process. And we hope that that your leadership on your campus to bring Real Chem to your students is something that you see in your future. So I'll stop there and open it up to comments, questions. I know that there's been chat going on the side, but if you want to come off mic and ask a question, feel free to jump in.
Hey, Jerry, I think one thing that we wanted to mention was the labs from Kendall Hunt. Could we talk-
Okay, go ahead.
And Curtis can speak to those.
Okay, great.
Yes, hey Jerry, thank you very much for the opportunity. I tell you one thing, this is my 26 years with Kendall Hunt and working with HBCUs and PWIs, etc. Uh, I haven't seen anything that's been this great as far as offering uh, this type of quality and the completeness of what you're bringing to the lecture side of chemistry. You're talking about not having too many worries. Once you sort of turn the key on this, that's what you're looking at. And then you also are able to have your own approach to it. So I love that on the Real Chem side. On the lab side, obviously every lab environment is different. So if there's a need for a custom lab environment, either print or digital, we're certainly the people to go to, because this is what we started doing in 1944, which seems like when I started, but I'm not that. I'm not that old. Kendall Hunt, Curtis Ross at Kendall Hunt Publishing. Um, if you would like to talk about creating your own lab manual for your courses, I certainly have a lot of content in that area, but also I work directly with you with your own resources that you'd like to bring and give to your students each semester. So thank you for the opportunity to partner with Real Chem and to get this out there, because as we know that our students in a lot of environments not being able to get over that STEM hill is keeping them back. It's keeping them away from the high paying jobs out there that are available to everybody else who's able to go out there and realize the American dream, home ownership, higher education, things of that nature for their kids and for themselves. So I do believe, I thank everybody who's involved with the Real Chem for at least, and this, not only that, but the way that Real Chem shows from a for us, by us approach. You can see tomorrow's scientists. You can see tomorrow's lab experts being created when they see themselves doing this, rather than somebody from Austria or wherever regular chemistry books come from. So anyway, thank you, thanks again, and I look forward to speaking to any of you who would like to talk about a lab experience on top of this. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, team.
Okay,
Thank you, Curtis.
And here, if you don't mind, I had the Dr. Ryan Smith from Dillard joined early, and so I had a quick chat with him. And so, Dr. Smith, if you don't mind me asking, what do you think about Real Chem? Is this is it different, like Curtis says, unlike the other stuff? And if there's something good that you like about it, let us know.
It is different. I do like the fact that like the real time feedback and the also the AI, the measure proficiency system you guys have, and then also I like the real scenario, like when it said like run a sample. It was like choosing a spot in the country, and you was able to run a sample. Like I don't know if there was on a water supply. I'm not sure what it was, but I did like the fact that you was able to apply like a virtual lab to like a real life scenario. So I thought that was pretty cool as well.
Good.
And Jerry, Daria Rice is on here, and she's actually crash coursing Real Chem this summer, and she mentioned that she's seen a real difference.
Oh, great.
Hi, Daria.
Yeah, I also had a question about lab, but yeah, I'm crash coursing for our summer 1 and summer 2 session, because I want to see, is it something that I can kind of implement in the fall with all of our chemistry classes, because I coordinate chemistry, so I'm like, okay, can I implement this? Right now we're using Alex, and we're using it for lecture and we're using it for lab, because we want to kind of keep it all integrated in terms of how we use things. But the feedback, students have said that you know, that having that feedback as soon as, you know, they do it, they don't get it right, they get the feedback that real time and like, oh, this is how it wasn't correct. Oh, this is how I do it, you know, and not having to wait, which is different from what we currently have. It's like, okay, you're going through this loop, and you're just getting frustrated. But now, oh, I can get some immediate feedback. I couldn't call my instructor or send an email at like 12 a.m. in the morning, but now I can kind of see what's actually taking place. And so a lot of students have said that has been very important. And then just the chunking of the reading, how the reading is broken down, and then the questions that are embedded within the reading, where they can kind of read through. Summer's, of course, fast-paced, so we've got a lot, covering a lot of information. But I have part students or students who are repeating the class, and so they've seen Alex before, and then students who are new to it. And so having those who've seen it and those who are new kind of say, okay, this is what's working, and this is so much better than what I've seen before, and we're able to kind of get through it and understand, it makes more sense, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe we kind of, you know, really work at this, and then kind of see how we can kind of get the lab into that. And so it's been really interesting, you know, this summer, coming on a close to like our first session, and then we'll go into our second summer session for Gen Chem 2. But it has definitely made a difference. I'm still learning. Like I said, I crash course. I'm like, okay, let me just throw it in here and try to like figure out what's going on and move assignments around and try to figure out how to work the thing. I was even lost with the student screen where it had like black and my screen was like white. I'm like, this is not what the demo had. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know. And then I didn't realize, you know, the black, white, you know, color scheme that you can put on. I'm not, you know, students know all that stuff. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. But it has definitely made a difference. And then the applications and the real life applications and the videos, and for them kind of be able to see and connect has really made a difference. And this is a short, like I said, it's we started May 29th, you know, the class. And so in this short period of time, students have definitely grown and been much more engaged than I've kind of seen in past summers with our previous platform that we've been using. And so it's definitely been very helpful. So I'm like, let me get some more information as we kind of progress through. Because the goal is to have something that we can kind of implement. I'm at Morgan State University, that we implement across, you know, all the classes, because our Gen Chem, everyone, you know, like you all need to do the same thing. So everything is kind of set the same way. And then the labs are kind of coordinated from that. And then we meet like every week so that everyone is on the same page and getting feedback. And so this is a lot of things that we do are like all in one place as opposed to having to build here. Okay, let's throw FET sims in there. Let's do this. I'm like, oh, it's all here. I'm like, how nice that is. And then we use OpenStack. So it really kind of integrates a lot of different valuable key and proven programs into one program without having to kind of find all these different things and integrate it into a platform. So I really like that about that.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And I think you should be doing these webinars, not me. I guess the way and you know what's so important is, you know, the impact that you're having on your students. But what I also heard is the impact on you, in a sense that it enables your students to be successful, and there's not it helps reduce your workload a little bit, right? You know, because you're not finding the FET simulation, stick it in your LMS and hope it works. You know, again, I know that experience too. And it, you know, if we help the faculty members do what they know is good and use your time and talents more effectively, the students win big time. So it's wonderful. So thank you so much for sharing it. And you're not alone. So in your second course, if you have any questions at all, right? All right. Who's shaking her head on the screen here? It's Talitha, right? Call her 1-800 Talitha Scott Brown and say, hey, help me, right? That's what we're here for. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that you were interested in some of the labs, so Talitha can connect you and Curtis and work that out.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. I see we're at 12:01. Want to be respectful of your time. I hope if there's any comment you want to just pop in the chat, and we'll be following up with you too, just providing you just reminders about the materials that we have available for you. And also, if you have any interest in getting the funding, whether it's with APLU, Digital Promise, or with a partner in publishing, Merlot, let us know, and we're happy to help you.